everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to do not so much a recap but a quick review of last night's episode of This Is Us, which is season 2, episode 17, which was titled The Big Amazing Beautiful Life. On this episode, they pretty much chronicle, so you know how they like to do the flashbacks and then come back to present time. So it really was about the life of Deja, and you guys know that Deja was the foster child that Beth and Randall took in for a brief period of time while her mother had been arrested, and then that was sort of intermingled with scenes from Jack when Rebecca was giving birth to the triplets. Then it was and then also scenes of when Randall was born to William and the mother, his birth mother passed away. And so it was just a lot of back and forth and kind of just interweaving and showing how we all have different beginnings, but we can end up in the same place. So basically on the Deja story, because we already know how Jack and Rebecca met and they had the triplets and one of them died and they ended up adopting Randall, and then we know about Randall and Beth and getting married and having their kids and stuff. So Miss Deja was born to a teen mom, and they lived with the grandmother. And so the mom was kind of wild, running the streets and everything, and she was leave Deja home by herself when she was a little kid. And so the grandmother, she was working full time, and then she would come home and have to take care of Deja. And so, she was trying to help Deja's mom be a better mom and get herself together. But no matter how much she tried to help, she just was going to run the streets, because I guess it was in her blood that she was just going to be this street person. So the grandmother ends up passing away when Deja was a little girl. And, so it was very traumatic. And then that only sent the mother spiraling more out of control because she was so dependent on the grandmother. And so her and Deja, they're in an apartment together. She's out working, and Deja ended up cutting her hand. And I don't know if y'all remember those can openers, but it was like a handle, and then it had like a spike, like a little spear type sharp blade, and you had to ram it down in the top of the can, and then you worked it like this as it went around the top of the can to cut it open. Well, that was the kind of can opener that Deja had. So she's sitting on the floor, and she was trying to make the grandmother's jambalaya, because kids, one thing about kids, no matter how bad you treat them, how much you neglect them, all they want is the love of their parents and to please their parents. And so Deja came into the world knowing that she had to take care of the mother. Like, that has always been her role, trying to take care of her mom, making sure that the mom has everything that she needs and that Deja isn't a hindrance or another problem for her. So she was trying to make this jambalaya to surprise her mom when she came home. So she's sitting on the floor, and somehow she ends up cutting her hand. So the hand is bleeding. She got it wrapped in a rag, and she calls the mom on her cell phone, but the mom doesn't answer. I think it was going to voicemail. So now she's sitting there like, well, do I bleed to death so my mama don't get in trouble, or do I need to get to the emergency room? So she ends up going to the emergency room, and of course they treat her. But then the social worker comes in, and so it's the same social worker that placed her with Beth and Randall. So the social worker comes in, talks to her and everything, and they end up taking Deja away from the mom because when the mom arrived, we learned that she had went out to happy hour after work with her friends. So they take Deja and put her into this foster home. So she was in a home. It was a white man, it was a white family that had the foster home, and they had multiple kids. And Deja made friends with this one girl. Well, something happened. I don't know what happened. I just know that they were called downstairs, and there was this black man there, and the black man was looking at them like, you know, I told y'all not to do whatever it was that they did. So the white man ended up beating. It was another little boy, like a Hispanic boy, and then the black girl that Deja had became friends with. So the girl got upset with Deja. You know, she didn't want to talk to Deja about it. And Deja was like, you know, do they always beat you? The girl, you know, wouldn't answer the question. So and they might have showed what it was that the kids had done, because I thought it was interesting that Deja didn't get beat like the other kids got beat. So maybe I had walked out of the room or something when that played out. But anyway, the social worker comes to visit Deja to check on her and see how she's doing, and she can sense that something was wrong with Deja, that something was going on. And so Deja says, you know, she didn't want to talk about it. So then the lady said, well, I'll just go down and talk to them and see what they got to say. So then Deja told her they beat us. So, you know, once she made that declaration, they had to move all the kids out of the people's house. So they take Deja and the girl to this, I guess like an orphanage or something. I should know more about the foster care system, because my best friend from high school, she works as they're not licensed social workers, but they work for nonprofit organizations. And so she works with the protective custody unit. And basically, when parents have to have supervised visits to see their kids, she's the one that accompanies the sheriff to monitor the visit and make sure everything's okay. And so she's been doing this probably since we got out of high school, so like 30 years, but it keeps getting moved around. And so she had this one job where she formed this organization of foster mothers in the foster parents in the St. Petersburg area. And even when she left that job, she continued to help them. And I mean, she does things like get free tickets to showings for the kids. She helped them do fundraisers to raise money to get the kids Christmas presents at Thanksgiving. She makes sure that all the families in the organization have food for Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, like, she does stuff. They do something with the Shriners where the kids with special needs get into the state fair. They get the state fair to open up earlier so people with special needs can come in and not have, you know, be there with like thousands of people at the fair. She just does a lot of work with them. And then through her, I have met foster parents. And so there are great foster parents out there. I just want to put that in there, that not all foster parents are bad. I know some amazing foster parents who have opened up their home. And one in particular, her son committed suicide, and then her husband passed away from cancer. And I'm not sure if she was a foster parent before all this happened, or if that was the way she channeled that love and that energy. But now she has these two little kids. I'm thinking them are the luckiest kids in the world to have her as a foster mom. And so, like I said, I know a lot of people that are great foster parents. So back to the story. So Deja and the girl get put into this center, like a holding center. And I think I started telling that story because I don't think we have facilities like that here in St. Petersburg where they're like a dormitory. And so Deja's trying to talk to the other girl and ask the girl, you know, are you mad at me? And so the girl basically told her that she had been in foster care all her life, and she's been molested, you know, by foster parents. She's been, you know, just all these horrible things that have happened to her. And that she liked being at the house with the white people because all they did was beat her. They weren't trying to molest her. They weren't trying to rape her or anything like that, pimp her out to anybody. And so that was a good home to her. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so sad. And so Deja ended up, so I think it was at that point when Deja, did she go back home? So then Deja got out and she was able to go back home with the mother. So the mother had been to rehab and all of this stuff, and she was just getting on my last nerve. So she done went to rehab, but instead of dealing with her drug and alcohol abuse issues, she done met some man. And she done came out of the rehab and then brought this man out of the rehab with her, got him all up in the house, staying with her and everything. And so one day, and you know that Deja didn't like the man because she's like, for once, can I just have all your attention? Like, why does it always have to be something else dividing us? And so she had to go to work and Deja had to go to school. But then she left Deja and the man at the house, and it was several other men at the house. And I'm just like, I know women are that stupid that you would leave your little girl in the house with a bunch of men that's not even her father, not her relative, that you probably don't even know. But Deja was like, I got things to do at school, so I'm going to get up out of here and go to the school. But what was really going on was Deja had joined the dance team. And so they had a big performance coming up, and she was trying out, I guess, for her role on the dance team or whatever. And so the guy had said something to Deja before she left, but Deja, you know, she was like, see you later, I don't want to hear it. So then Deja was at school and she was at the dance practice and everything when the police came in. So she looking like, I know damn well these people ain't here for me. So the instructor goes over and he's talking to the police trying to figure out why they there, who they there to see. So they was there to get Deja because Deja mama then got arrested. So I'm like, Lord have mercy. So that's how she ended up with Beth and Randall, because the mom had allowed the boyfriend that she had met in rehab to hold her car, and then he had a gun in the car. The mom got stopped, and so she got arrested for having the gun in the car. So then Deja goes to Beth and Randall, you know, to stay. And then you guys remember, so they dropped the charges against the mom. She gets out of jail. She shows up, takes, well, she didn't take Deja. They had to go through the whole process, but she let them know that she was there to get Deja. So Deja goes back home with the mom. So then she comes up with this box that she had created, and she said, you know, we'll put the money in the box to save so we can pay the bills and maybe do something special if we have money left over. So then we had this really cute scene of her and the mom, and they're paying the bills. You know, they're taking the money out of the box, paying the bills, and so they run out of money in the box. And so Deja was kind of confused, like, why they didn't have enough money to pay the bills. So they did have enough money to pay the gas bill. So a couple of episodes, we had a scene where Deja showed up at Beth and Randall's house. And so she was actually there to ask them for the money for the gas bill. So they got the gas paid for. So then it came up later on that they didn't have enough money to pay the rent, and that if they didn't pay the rent by 5 o'clock, they were going to be evicted. So I guess Deja's mama thought that she was going to run back over there to Beth and Randall and ask them for the rent money, because she acted real scandalous, like a little junkie hooker who always don't want to take accountability, don't want to do the right thing, always depending on somebody else to pull her out of her situation. But I think when Deja called, that was when they were in Las Vegas. So even if she asked them for the money, they couldn't get the money. So then she had asked the mom, well, what happened to the money? Why don't we have money for rent? Well, child, come to find out that when she told them people that that gun belonged to that man and they let her go, they actually arrested the man. So then she went and took her rent money to go pay his bail to get him out of jail. So I'm like, okay, so if you bailed him out of jail, where he at? Where is he now that you and your daughter about to be put out on the streets? Like, I'm not understanding what's going on. So, of course, they didn't come up with the money because Beth and Randall was out of town and Deja never asked them for the money. So they end up getting evicted, and they were in the car. And if you watched last week's episode, the show ended last week with them coming back home, and then they're searching through, searching for Deja and her mom, and they find them sleeping in the car. So they get them and they take them back home. And so I was thinking, you know, Beth and Randall bought that apartment building. So in my mind, that they're probably going to give them a place to live in that apartment building where they don't have to pay rent and then this stuff. But I don't think I would be that generous to Deja's mom. I would probably be like, no, you give Deja to us and Deja can come stay with us and you on your own and go be ratchet and do whatever you want to. But the mom, you could tell, was a little salty because of the way Deja interacted with Beth and Randall and their kids. And they were going to make them a bed on the sofa downstairs, but then Deja asked if she go sleep in her room upstairs. And left the mama down there. I was like, now Deja, why you ask your mama if asked if your mama could go up there and sleep in that room with you? But Deja was like, child, please, I'm gonna get me a good night's sleep. So she went on upstairs, and then Beth and the mom, they end up talking, but you could just tell that she doesn't like the impact that Beth and Randall have had on Deja. So it'd be interesting to see how this turns out. Now, y'all know I don't recap This Is Us. Like I did a recap for when we finally found out how Jack died. And the reason I'm doing this recap is because I was in some kind of mood last night. And I was on Twitter live tweeting about the show, and I came across a tweet that a woman had posted. Okay, so this lady made a post on Twitter, and she said, I thought Deja's mother didn't care, but the truth is she did, and she did the best she could with what she had. All that matters is that she loved her child. So like I said, I was in my feelings, because one thing I can't stand is to see children mistreated. And one of the things that kind of hinders me when it comes to helping people, like I'll donate money night and day to, help kids go to camp, go to college tours or whatever it is that they're trying to do. But it's hard for me like to volunteer at schools or to give of my time, because as a single mother, I know the sacrifices that I made. I know the things that I gave up to make sure that my children had what they need. And what I find in today's society is that we don't want to hold people accountable for their behavior. Like a lot of people have this, they have the mentality that we're just going to go in and we're going to help the kids because the kids deserve better. And it's not the kids' fault that their parents, act the way that they do. But nobody ever says, we got to get the parents to realize that their children are their responsibility. And for me, I just, for the life of me, cannot go into a situation where you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You're not being held accountable, but then I'm supposed to take time out of my life to ensure that your child has what your child needs. And I know that is probably wrong, but I'm just going to be wrong. I'm going to stand in my wrongness. Now, I can partner with you all day long and help you. And if you're doing your part, you're being a mother, you're giving up the streets, you're giving up the drinking, you're giving up the drugs, you're giving up whatever it is that you're doing that's keeping you from being a better parent to your child. But I can't give up my time to be to your child what you refuse to be because you are addicted to the streets and you're addicted to some man. And my sister, like one of my older sisters, she is raising this little boy, and he is, I think he'll be like 12, maybe 12 in April, has raised him since he was a baby. And she is just so loving and so kind and so giving and so nurturing, and like she take care of him. She helped the mom, helped the grandmother, helped the mother, helped the aunts' kids, helps the other siblings. Like she just give of herself to help these people. And I just be sitting there like, when they gonna do their part? When they gonna stop using you? When they gonna give back? When are they going to be the people that they need to be? Like, why are you letting them take from you like this? But I guess it's people on this earth that was just born to be givers, and there were people that were born to be takers, and there are people like me that was born to sit back and say, sorry for you, I can't help you. Because I mean, when my kids was growing up, there were people that, offered them opportunities. But I'll tell you something, if somebody came and got one of my kids and said, okay, we got this wonderful program, like my daughter was in this program called Youth Engineering Society. Trust me, I made sure my daughter got there on time. I made sure she was picked up on time. When they went to competitions around the country, I made sure my daughter was able to go. I made sure she had spending money. I made sure she had everything that she needed. When they needed volunteers, I was there to volunteer. When they needed donations of food or whatever, anytime somebody has helped my children, I have given back to that organization to show my appreciation for what they have done. And it just annoys me when people don't do that. So back to this lady and my response to her. Okay, so she said, I thought Deja's mother didn't care, but the truth is she did, and she did the best she could with what she had. All that matters is that she loved her child. My response was, the best you can is not paying a man's bail over paying your rent. He was the reason she got arrested in the first place. Being a good mother requires a lot more than love. It also requires common sense. I'm just saying. So then she replied back and said, I have to disagree with you. Being a principal at a school with 99% poverty, I've seen it. I've been through it. I've lived it on a daily basis. You only know what you know, but in the end, all mothers love their children. This I know for sure. None of us are perfect. There's always hope. So I replied, I am not doubting the love part. It's you brought a person in the world that is totally dependent on you, and instead doing right by your children, you're worried about getting high and taking care of a man part. That's really bothering me. So then she came back and said, did you not read what I said? I meant it, and I meant it with a passion. Unless you've lived it and been through it and helped someone get from the worst situation in a new start in life like I have, then we have a conversation. Otherwise, nah, miss me with that. So I came back and said, that's the point. I chose not to live it. Therefore, I didn't need to be saved. You're trying to justify poor choices, and I'm not going to go for that. Hashtag children first. So at that part, I was pretty much done with the conversation. So then she came back and she was like, I have to laugh because you are too far gone. Give back. Never give up on somebody. Then she replied back in another post to me and said, well, she created another thread because she saw I wasn't going to respond to this one. Then she asked me, was I a single parent? And girl, bye. Because you want to, and that's the thing that bothers me, is people that want to make excuses for the poor choices and bad decisions that these bad parents make all the time. And I'm just not here for it. It's not that I think I'm better than anybody else. I just know that parenting requires great sacrifice. And you should not be bringing children into the world that you are not willing to sacrifice for, to ensure that they have a better life than you had. And I think that should be every parent's goal, is to give their child a better life than they had. So that episode last night, This Is Us, got me in a space and had me arguing with people, because one thing I don't do is go back and forth with people on social media, especially people that I don't know. I usually say what I have to say and be done with it. But like I said, I was in the mood last night and I had to catch myself and pull back because we could have been going on all night long, because there is nothing you can say to me that will ever make me agree that it is okay for parents to abandon their children, to mistreat their children, and to not be there for their children, providing whatever they can for their children. And then we get into that whole conversation about having children that you know you can't afford. For whatever reason, you don't want to take birth control and you don't want to use a condom. Then that opens up a door and a whole nother conversation. So guys, did you watch This Is Us last night? If so, what did you think about the episode? What do you think about the whole debate of parents that get their kids taken for them for no other reason than they are irresponsible? Like, I can see other things that might attribute to your child being in foster care, but you need to get it together so you can go get your kids as quickly as possible. But to have your children going in and out of foster care because of your bad decision and you're not being disciplined, what do you think about that? Leave your comments below. Rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.